The first victim of China's unarmed war against India in the Kalwan Valley is Mr. Parani, a 40-year-old son of Tamil Nadu. Let us all worship our gods and thank him for giving us the heroic shoulder and provide Parani with a befitting farewell. The Indian army has also retaliated in our defense in this valiant war. World media has reported that approximately 50 Chinese troops are said to have died, although there is no official confirmation from China. Whether the standoff with China will continue or peace will return to the border between the two countries is not in the hands of the Chinese parliament. On the contrary, it is the result of the dictatorship of its dictatorial tycoon that has now plagued the world over. There is no doubt that China is growing exponentially in many sectors as of today. Since 1978, the people have worked hard for the last 40 years and has still been working hard in all top government ideologies. Chinese merchants have poured their investments around the world, including the US. Everything China has done is commendable, but what is the attitude of China today? There is nothing more to grow, only expand territory, is the arrogance of the Chinese government. It is almost as if the authoritarian Chancellor Xi Jinping is saying, "We are moving to the next phase of aggression and territorial occupation," while other countries are fighting for their growth. Yes, what is happening in China is dictatorship. If it is to be believed that socialist democracy is at its peak in China, even the most famous preacher, Goebbels' grave, will inch down. This is a perfect, undeclared autocracy. Only if approved by the government can any party function as an opposition party. Is this what China is promoting as socialist democracy? The name is rich kids' sarcastic game. In 2018, unprecedented legislation was introduced in China's 2,964-member parliament. By the Zidane Amendment, Mr. Xi Jinping made the call for China's permanent premier. Here, in Tamil Nadu, the late Jayalalitha made herself a permanent general secretary to the AIADMK and was titled Amma the Savior. Likewise, there in China, only 2 people opposed the amendment. 3 remained silent and 2,959 people supported it. At least in Russia, its President Putin secured 76% of the votes. But Chinese President Jinping has beaten Putin and secured 100%. How is this possible? This cannot be debated in China. There is no concept of public opinion. What the premier says is the law, and his decision is final. The premier's wife has been given the equal rank of Major General in China. If the Holy Quran is to be recited, it should be translated into Chinese. If it is in Arabic, it will be destroyed. China is full of stupid laws and contradictions. They still have the arrogance of globalizing Chinese ideologies. Mr. Jinping may have the intention of furthering his influence. Isn't it prudent to ask the backbone of other countries to be a walking stick? World countries are angered and troubled over this. Overpower is to invade the others with its strength of the army, while oversmart is the default approach. If overpower is to declare war, then oversmart will do an undisclosed withdrawal. It is almost as pretending to be the one's well-wishers while sneaking a knife behind their back to slit their throat. The world looks at China's approach as an oversmart approach to annihilation with friendly talks and investment. On the contrary, he only swindles and the world looks at his approach as oversmart. Internally, the Chinese president plays a special role. He does not flaunt in any 7-feet cars like our politicians. On the contrary, he is the chancellor who suddenly appears in the queues of people moving inside the malls. Is it our premier? No, I am just like everyone else, he'd say. People celebrated him. But one day, he made an impression on the entire party by declaring it on a black day. I am a unique person. I am the permanent premier of this country. Xi Jinping's oversmart approach has provoked resentment among the Chinese. But since it's a strict communist country, there is no easy way out. People in China are not happy. They have no opportunities for their youth to celebrate their life as in other parts of the world. They are angry and frustrated. Despite all its growth, there is a lot of unemployment. More than 20 million young people are not married as they rot as singles. The Chinese government is forcing them to undergo military training. Is this China built for the premier and its 3,000 courtmen? Are we robots, puppets at their command? The dissatisfaction has irritated the minds of the Chinese people. Being a simmering fire, it can erupt at any time. The Chinese premier cannot deny the fact that the anger and fear of foreign intelligence forces may support his people. Whatever it is it time to start a border dispute? What time is it? China has lost its reputation in the world as a result of handling the corona epidemic. The US President Trump has brazenly accused China of being fun-loving without preempting the impact of corona. This is a time when hundreds of countries, including the United States, have accused China of providing contradictory information about the world's corona pandemic, covering up and betraying information about an epidemic that is threatening the world. To create more problems for China at this time, President Xi Jinping has begun a border dispute with China, which is likely to progress. On the contrary, India, which has retaliated against China, has earned a reputation throughout the world for its control of the corona pandemic and for helping the world. Our Prime Minister Modi is known to the entire world through a series of overseas travels, hard work, and mutually beneficial deals and agreements. Indian Prime Minister Modi is a fierce negotiator, but the friendliness can be extended. He has made it clear that he is a compeer, not superior, nor inferior among world leaders. The world views Indians as good and compassionate even if they had been hurt 1,000 times. They are perceived as passionate people who can unite for the good of the world when needed. Indians have the reputation of being the pioneers of the world's good. The world also believes that India is the only country in all of Asia worthy of checking China's power. The world has come forward openly to suppress China's growth by developing the Indian economy. In this predicament, knowing that its actions will not affect anyone in the world, China has begun a border dispute with India, which cannot be considered a joint decision of the Chinese parliament. If this had been for a parliamentary public debate, wouldn't it have at least two people telling the truth and stopping the border aggression? It is therefore a difficult decision for a single man to make the best of his existence. His 3,000 men have simply got to accept this. This is it. The loss is to China. If this trend persists, China will be severely isolated by the rest of the world. Chinese merchants around the globe, talents and students will be ignored. Trends of the boycott right now are not only in India but throughout the world, and they may be opposed to China. If the Chinese people realize that they're being held up as a beautiful wax toy amid a fire of hostilities, a civil war would erupt again in China, just as it did in 1931. China needs to understand the pressure it handles from both within the country and outside its country. It is better if the Chancellor realizes the importance of his position. India has no enemies in the world. It is the nature and belief of Indians that any beautifully built mansion should be kept protected and safe. Any place in the world belongs to all of us, is the philosophy of the Indian's anthropomorphism. That is why this article insists that the Chinese premier changes his attitude. On the contrary, if China wants to showcase India's strength, courage, and unity to the world, India is ready to do so. I've heard of one Chinese famous children's folk song called Moi Li Yuwa, composed in the 18th century. When translated, it goes like this. Jasmin, oh Jasmin, you are whiter than snow. Oh, how much I want to pluck you, take you. But no, the gardener will scold. Look at that, the hesitation shown by the Chinese child to pluck a flower from his neighbor's garden prompts me to cherish him dearly. Shouldn't the president of that country have a sense of honesty and compassion as his children? Should not the president's second wife, Pengliwan, a contemporary folk singer, sing the song to her husband to make him realize? Jai Hind.
லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, கீழே கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க. மின்னம்பலம் யூடியூப் சேனலை சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க.